Call to order the Gurnee Village Board regular meeting of April 21st, 2025. Roll call, please.
Ross.
Here.
Garner.
Here.
O'Brien.
Present.
Balmas.
Present.
Thorstensen.
Here.
Woodside.
Present.
6 present.
You all stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody, to the first item on the agenda. Approval of consent agenda is presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Balmas, second by Trustee O'Brien. Roll call, please.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Woodside.
Aye.
6 aye.
Motion carries. Pat?
Item number 1, approval of the minutes from the April 7, 2025 meeting. Item number 2, approval of request from Information Systems to renew the Arctic Wolf Managed Security Services contract for a period of 1 year at a cost of $125,060.18. Item number 3, approval of Engineering Division request to waive the formal bidding process and award the Depot Road retaining wall replacement project to low bidder Landscaping by Gary Weiss at a cost of $24,800. Item number 4, approval of Public Works Department request to waive the formal bidding process and purchase 52 pints of Triage R10 insecticide from Grand Arbor Group at a cost of $23,961.60. Emerald Ash Board treatment supplies. Item number 5, approval of Public Works Department request to waive the formal bidding process and award the Fuel Island Surveying and Permitting Services to Manhart Consulting at a cost not to exceed $33,900. Item number 6, approval of Police Department request to waive the formal bidding process and award security locker system for high-value and sensitive items to Midwest Security Products at a cost of $25,046.95. Item number 7, approval of issuing a raffle license and waiving the fee and bond requirement for the Lake County Fire Chiefs Association Tunnels to Towers project. Item number 8, approval of payroll for period ending April 4, 2025 in the amount of $1,013,171.52. Item number 9, approval of bills for period ending April 21st, 2025 in the amount of $1,358,146.59.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion
Second.
by Trustee Garner, second by Trustee Thorstensen. Roll call, please.
Woodside.
Aye.
Nope. Back up.
Yeah.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Woodside.
Aye.
Motion carries. On to C, petitions and communications. Number 1, approval of proclamation designating April 25th, 2025 as Arbor Day in the Village of Gurnee. Every April, Arbor Day is celebrated nationally as a call to action for people to take care of trees and promote their growth. It acknowledges the importance of trees in the ecosystem and the role they play in providing clean air, water, and habitat for wildlife. This day also encourages people to plant and maintain trees in the village. The village has planted 168 trees and trimmed 3,099 trees during this past year. Finally, it highlights the responsibility of every citizen to protect and preserve the natural environment for future generations. Now, therefore, I, Thomas Hood, Mayor of Gurnee, do hereby proclaim April 25, 2025 to be Arbor Day in the Village of Gurnee, and hereby urge all citizens to celebrate and support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion by Trustee Ross, second by Trustee Garner. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 2, presentation by Swalco Executive Director Walter Willis. Swalco updates. Walter.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees and members of the public. My name is Walter Willis, and I'm the Executive Director of the Solid Waste Agency of Lake County, and I'm pleased to be here. I'm going to talk a little bit about the first agenda item you're going to have, which is modifying the host community agreement between Swalco and Gurnee. And thanks again for Gurnee hosting our household hazardous waste facility way back when. The first time we went to, it didn't go so well. So when Gurnee was willing to be our partner on that, we were very grateful, and we continue to be grateful, and you guys are a great partner for that facility. So what has happened is we've passed a couple extended producer responsibility laws where the producers are helping pay for some of these programs that we run. And 2 laws in particular, the paint law and the battery law does allow the commercial sector for the first time to engage in programs like ours. And so we are looking into that and submitted a permit application to the state to allow us to take just small quantity generators. We're not going to take from big generators, and I can answer questions if you have them. But when we engaged with the Illinois EPA, they were like, well, you have an agreement with Gurnee, and Gurnee should be aware of this. And so you guys did, a letter was sent, we made you aware of this, and it made sense to us to not only have that letter that the agency wanted to complete the permit, which we did get, but we also thought it made sense to make those same changes in the agreement between the two parties. And so really what we're doing is modifying it slightly so that we can take material from the commercial, the business sector, if you will, batteries and paint only. So we'll monitor that, we'll collect it separately from the residential. This won't infringe upon our residential program. And if it becomes too much of a burden for us as an agency, we can back off. There's nothing in the law that says we have to do this. So we're going to monitor very closely. Anybody that brings this material will have to have a paper trail so that we know they're a small quantity generator. But that's really the essence of what's going on with this change in the agreement. And hopefully you guys, if you have questions, I'm going to stick around for that item. But that's kind of the groundwork on what's going on there. Secondly, I know this isn't on your agenda, but I think it'll be in one of your future agendas, is the renewal of your commercial franchise. You were one of the first communities. There's only about 30, 35 communities in all of Illinois that have a commercial franchise. So it's a unique thing that you've achieved. And it's brought great price reductions to your business sector. And, you know, Pat and I work closely with Austin on talking to Waste Management, and the rates will be frozen and then capped at 3.5 CPI. Most contracts that I'm helping communities on now, mainly in the residential sector, but Lindenhurst just did one commercially. You're looking at between 4 and 5s fixed. You know, the waste industry it's payback almost from when they had the caps and then we had high inflation several years ago. So really good deal, I think, for the business community. So as far as SWALCO is concerned, it's a really good deal for the business community on the commercial franchise. So just real quick on some SWALCO update things. Recycle Coach, you guys are one of the 13 towns that have totally onboarded that new tool for your residents to not only learn about your hauling program, what their collection day is, when spring cleanup is, things like that can all be communicated. But it also has a very robust what goes where tool. So anything you know, whether it's recyclable or not, you can query it through word searches or taking a picture if you get the app on your phone. And it'll tell you whether it's recyclable or not, or if it's an electronic item, where the nearest electronic drop-off is. So we think it's a really robust tool, and you guys have gotten a really good head start on it. I just want to give you kudos for that. The other program that you guys are really doing an excellent job on is the Hefty Renew, and I saw some signage back there on the electronic board. And we tracked how many starter kits. So you had to alert people to this program, right, and how to get a starter kit, get that first orange bag and figure out what these plastic items are that you can put in there. You've had more starter kits requested than any other community, almost by twice as many. So excellent job, again, getting the word out on this program. And we're in it for the long haul in this program, so we'll continue to help you message on the Hefty Renew. The Sharps, I saw your kiosk out there. That's working really well. There's only 6 other communities that are doing Sharps. So again, excellent job with you guys with that program. Textiles, you collect more clothing than any other member. Over 60,000 pounds a year come through that program. We collect about 500 to 600,000, so you're 10% of the total. And I think the nearest community after you is about 40,000 pounds a year. So again, Gurnee's excellent job in your programs. Really want to give you kudos for that. And then finally, we did just update our plan. Every 5 years, SWALCO prepares the plan update, and then the county board has to approve it under state law to make it effective as a county plan. We're at about, we generate as a county about 911,000 tons per year, and about 37% of that we divert from the landfill through our composting, yard waste programs, and our recycling programs. And as far as your community is concerned, there's specific data in the plan update on Gurnee. And one of the things that, again, you guys have done an excellent job on is About 10 years ago, we started looking at how much you actually put in your garbage cart. Not your recycling or your compost, but just your garbage cart. How much is going to landfill? And if we drive that number down, we're doing something good. People are either recycling or composting or source reducing or reusing more, right? So we set a goal of 1.35 pounds per person per day. Typically, we're averaging around 2.5 to 3, just in the residential sector. We set a goal of 1.35 pounds per capita per day, and you guys are at 1.3. So you're one of 10 communities that has met that goal, and we'll continue to track that. So that's a kudos for you guys. Excellent job. As far as the franchise goes, one of the things that we would like to work with, and this isn't picking on Gurnee, but with your commercial franchise, we've gotten about half your businesses to recycle. You know, we'd like to get it higher. We'd like to get 75% or more because the additional cost to get a recycling container is free. It's built into their waste rate. It's not free, but it's built in. So there is the opportunity for every one of your businesses to have a level of recycling. So we're going to continue to work on that with the 9 other franchise towns because all of you are around 50%. There's a couple that are a little bit higher. So that is an area that we do want to focus on to try to get your business community more engaged in recycling. But other than that, under the household chemical waste program, I'm excited to say that hopefully in a couple months, we'll be able to take all batteries, so single-use batteries, your alkalins, which we really don't take right now, plus your lithium rechargeable batteries, which we do take. So there'll be less confusion. As long as it's a loose battery, you can bring it to Swalco. So that's coming soon. And then once that law comes in, which I talked about, the battery extended producer responsibility law, again, we'll be able, that starts in January of next year. So we'll be able to take all batteries, even bicycle batteries, some of your lawn equipment batteries, some of the bigger batteries, we'll be able to take those. And only facilities like ours can take the bigger batteries. So we've got a unique asset that'll be good for our residents. And the Sharps program is going well. We're getting a state grant for that. And we will be able to take latex paint now at our household chemical waste events. So we don't have to tell people to come to a special collection where we charge them. Now they'll be able to bring that along with everything else they bring us. So that's a nice improvement to our program as well. So excellent job, Gurnee. Thanks for your partnership on the household chemical waste facility. It's a very valuable asset for our community. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Well, maybe there'll be a question or two, but I'd first like to say just thank you to Karen and Austin for their operations with the ESC. Those numbers you gave us, I'd say, at least in a good-sized part, is responsible because of what the work they've done, and I really appreciate that they've been able to attain numbers and that helps me quantify that. I mean, we really didn't know where we stood. Are we doing a good job? And I assume we were, since Karen and Austin were working on it. But so just thank you guys for the work you do. And if you could pass it along to the ESC, I think they'd appreciate that. So, and Walter, actually, maybe if there's some questions from the board for you, would you be willing to?
Yeah.
To my left, any questions? No? To my right? Trustee O'Brien?
Thank you. Actually, I was going to give props to Austin, ESC, Karen, et cetera, but beyond that, so what kind of new paints are being accepted with this new program for the commercial?
As far as the paint you're saying, sir?
Yeah, something about latex, but that's residential, right?
What we expect with the paint law is, since it did expand beyond the residentials, we'll get some of the painting contractors will be able to come to our facility. We'll do a special separate day, like I said, and we have to have specially stored in our facility. But that's the universe. But we hopefully won't get overwhelmed because retailers like Benjamin Moore and Sherwin-Williams typically opt into this program and become a drop-off. So a lot of the big paint contractors will likely go to those stores where they're buying their paints. So, but that's really the one we're looking at is the big new customer we might have with paint.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No more? Okay.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Trustee Russ?
This is probably kind of a silly one, but recycling CD cases. Kids took all the CDs, but we have all these CD cases, and it says that you don't recycle those. So
Let me get back to you on that. I do believe that you cannot put that in your recycling cart, that I know. But that would be something I can get back to you on.
Okay, 'cause-
We used to be able to take those, the CDs and the cases through the electronics program, so I will double check for you on that. Get back to Pat and let you know.
put them in the garbage.
Yep, oh, I like that, all right.
It's personal.
All right.
So,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I just echo what Tom said about trustee Thorson and Austin, but a lot of the ideas that we push onto the community come from SWACO. So something new comes up, like the Orange Bag Program, Walter reaches out to us, hey, what do you guys think about that? And then partner with SWACO, and then they turn it over to us. Austin pushes it out, Karen works on it through the ESC. So again, Walter's a great resource, and a lot of this comes up through SWACO. So our annual membership fee, just assistance he provides during the franchise renewals, when questions come up, these programs is definitely getting our money's worth, so.
Yes. Thank you very much for your
You're welcome.
presentation, and you're going to stay for the next item, right?
I will.
So, yeah, good. So on to new business, item number 1, approval of ordinance 2025.
29.
Authorizing and approving an amendment to the Solid Waste Agency of Lake County, Illinois, SWALCO host agreement to allow limited universal commercial waste collection, batteries and paint at the facility located at 1311 North Estes Street. Pat?
Sure. So Walter just summarized this. They're going to take a portion of their space over at the SWACO facility, start to take some limited waste from commercial, so just batteries and paints from smaller commercial entities, no more than 4,999 kilograms of commercial waste on site at any one time. Again, they'll see how it goes. It's not something that they have to provide. It's a service they are providing, though. They've got the okay from the IPA. They have approved it on the SWACO side as far as the amendment to the host agreement. They're now before the village. Talked to the fire chief before we agreed to put this on the agenda. He had no concerns as far as the additional painter batteries being stored out at the facility. So this amendment will allow that limited commercial waste collection out at the SWACO facility. And then once they get that up and rolling, I'm sure we'll have Walter back in the future and he can report on how that's going. So.
All right, thanks. So is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion by trustee Garner, second by trustee Thorstensen. Any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Woodside.
Aye.
6-0.
Motion carries. Thank you, Walter, for your assistance. All right. Item 2, approval of ordinance 2025,
30.
granting a special use permit pursuant to Gurnee zoning ordinance for 3590 Route 132. Pat?
Sure. So I'll give you an overview and then the petitioners in the audience with us. Memo from our associate planner, Shannon Coleman, on this. So the petitioner, Andrew Perez, is requesting a special use permit to operate Impulsive Details, which is a hand wash and car detailing business in the former paint store in East Grand. Properties zone C2 EGG, so the use needs a special use permit. In addition to the hand car washing, they'll offer ceramic coating and window tinting as optional features. All the operations will occur interior to the building. Exterior modifications will include a double bay door on the south side wall of the building, and then the door that's existing on the backside of the building on the north end will be enlarged to accommodate 2 vehicles. Vehicles come in off Grand, exit on Belle Plaine. They expect typically 3 employees on site, looking to have hours of operations between 8 and 7, 7 days a week. Was before the PZB on March 5th, received a 6-to-1 favorable recommendation subject to 9 conditions. Those 9 conditions were all vehicle services must be conducted inside, maintain 14 parking spaces with 7 spaces to the rear of the property striped at 9 feet by 18 feet, limited exterior vehicle queuing to 2 tandem spaces. Any rooftop solar panels must be screened from the public. Obviously secure building permits for any exterior modifications. Signage must comply with our codes. It must also display appointment only. Operations strictly limited to appointment only basis. North garage door remain closed during business hours except when vehicles are exiting, and then close the south entrance on Belle Plaine to prevent additional traffic congestion in the area. So 5 residents spoke at the PZB meeting in opposition to it, mainly concerned about traffic noise, intersection capacity, and the environmental impacts that the car wash and runoff would have. So that's a quick summary. Again, petitioner is here if there's further questions for the Village Board.
All right, so for the petitioner, is there anything that you'd like to say or add to that? You don't need to? No. And at this time, I'd open the floor to the public if there's any comments that they would like to be made. No, you don't have to. I'm just asking if the public wants to make a comment. Okay, so close the floor to the public, and then to the board, I look to my left. Any questions or comments that you have for this particular use? Nobody on my left? Anybody on my right? Trustee Thorson.
So I guess I'm going to address it to Pat, or Mr. Mutes here. I don't recall if you said this on our exchange earlier today about school bus stops was being mentioned.
Yeah, I wasn't able. David, do you remember, was the concern about bus stops in the area come up during the PZB meeting? I wasn't able to go back and review it quick, so I apologize for that.
No problem.
There was some discussion of school bus stops. The residential areas are, half a block farther north. There's an intermediate auto repair shop between this site and the residential areas. So I believe the first school bus stop is at the first intersection north of Grand. So there's nothing in the immediate vicinity of this facility.
Okay, because if I recall, the concern is that as they exit off of Belle Plaine, they would be right up against a school bus stop, adding for potential safety concerns or something.
Right, there's an intermediate business north of this site. That's the auto repair shop, and then a residential property or two before you get to the first intersection. Did not feel that it warranted any additional concern based upon, it's been an operating business. It's a fairly low traffic generator. We kind of work through the numbers, and it's like one vehicle every 5 minutes on average. So not a high traffic generator by any means.
Okay, and so it sounds like at least 3 to 4 structures north is where that school bus stop is.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Being none? Okay. And is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Balmas, second by trustee O'Brien. Roll call, please.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Woodside.
Aye.
6-8.
Motion carries. Welcome to Gurnee. Thank you. Same to you. Item 3, approval of ordinance 2025,
31.
amending Chapter 2 of the Gurnee Municipal Code to add Section 2-90 entitled Procedures for Public Comment and Decorum at Public Meetings. Pat?
Sure. So worked with Attorney Winter to clarify some of the rules related to public comment, drafted up an ordinance. I'd say 90% of what's in this ordinance was already in practice. Things that are new or different. Public comment before the consent agenda, 30 minutes, no more than 3 minutes per person on agenda items only. Public comment at the end of the meeting, 60 minutes, no more than 3 minutes per person on agenda items or items that are within the realm of the village's responsibility. Individuals can speak once at the beginning, public comment, once at the public comment at the end, and we'll post the rules in the council chambers and on the village website. Everything else that was in the ordinance is former practice as far as address the board, no back and forth, sign the sign-up sheet, et cetera. So.
All right. So I'll open the floor to the public. If there's any comments that you'd like to make from the public, we'd be open.
Thank you. Keith Owens, 6464 Doral Drive, taking my last opportunity to speak for more than 3 minutes. No, I'm just joking there. I want to thank the board in general and Tom specifically for codifying what, as Pat has referred to as common practice. There's common practice, and then there's what's the rule. And this organization has a lot of rules about a lot of things, and I thought this was just one that was important to have down, not only to encourage people to come and speak before the board, but also to give the board the opportunity to hear directly from the people before they make the decisions. A lot of the other opportunities people have to interact with the village are either one-on-one through the website or one-on-one through the mayor. But you are, as the trustees, are the ones that have to make the final decisions. And I know in the past, testimony from people has really held sway for some of you, and I think it's important for any issue that may be important to any individual for you to have an opportunity to hear that. So I want to thank Brian for his skill in drafting this. I want to thank Tom for his willingness not only to practice what he preaches as far as not limiting people as he has in the past, but making sure that that kind of language is included in this ordinance. Because while some people might view it as limiting the people to 3 minutes, there's language in there that allows the chair to extend not only an individual's time, but the overall time. And that has always been the overriding principle from the village standpoint, from the prior mayor and from this mayor. So for him to put that in there, I think, makes an important caveat to this in terms of this is not limiting people's ability to speak in the future. It's more of encouraging them to participate. So for that, I thank Brian, and I thank Tom, and I thank Pat for bringing this forward, and I hope it receives everyone's positive vote. Thank you very much once again for your time and service.
Thanks, Keith. Anybody else from the public that would like to speak on this issue? There being none, with the board, go to my right first. Any comments or discussion? Nope. To my left? Being none? Yes,
I just have
Woodside.
one point of, just a question. Item number 1 on the decorum rules that mentions the sign-up sheet. Just for clarification, that sheet would serve as an order of speaking, and
That's my understanding.
How
Yeah.
you want to handle that? Okay.
to prevent people from having to stand in line at the podium if it's a hot
Yes.
topic? Yeah,
Yes.
okay,
That'd be one of the uses, but
yeah. All right, thank you.
good point. Anybody else? Nope. Is there a motion?
So move. Second.
Motion by trustee Garner, second by trustee Thorstensen. Roll call, please.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner. Aye. O'Brien.
Aye.
Thomas.
Nay.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Woodside.
Aye.
5-1.
All right, motion carries. On to item number 4, approval of ordinance 2025,
32.
amending, amending Chapter 46 of the Gurnee Municipal Code to prohibit excessive engine braking noise. Pat?
Sure. So had a memo from our village engineer, Nick Leach, on this. We've had complaints from residents about engine braking along 21 and 41. We don't have any regulations on the books related to that, so we are able to put up signage that reads excessive engine braking noise prohibited. That then gives the police department the ability to enforce that. The fine amount is set by the state of Illinois. It's $75 for noncompliance. So the plan is, if this ordinance passes, get that signage installed at the entry points to the village along those major routes, and then turn it over to the police department after that.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Ross, second by trustee Garner. Any comments or questions?
I
Trustee
do.
Balmas?
This is, will that also be by, oh my God,
It'll apply to the entire village once we approve this, so.
because there was some complaints a while back about gauges, not,
That was right up off 21 that we were receiving complaints, so yep.
yeah, okay. Thank you.
You got the motion in second, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? No. Roll call, please.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner. Aye. O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Woodside.
Aye.
6-0.
Motion carries. Item 5, approval of ordinance 2025.
33.
Approving a one-year service agreement with Regroup related to the emergency mass notification system. Pat?
Sure. So we've used Connect C2I for our mass notification system since 2011. Served us well, but obviously during that time, technology has advanced. That being said, a group of staff members, including Austin and representatives from the Police Department and Information Systems Division, took a look to see what else was out there and what may better fit the needs of Gurnee with all the number of visitors that we have coming to town. So they looked at a couple different providers. Regroup rose to the top. Some advantages. The main advantage Regroup has over Connect C2I is just being able to place a dot on a map, if you create a radius, it'll call all the phones within that radius. So don't have to be registered with the system, your cell phone would ring. So obviously with the mall, Six Flags, those people that don't live in Gurnee that come to town, if we had to use the system, be able to communicate with them, not just those that have entered their information. So be similar to CTY, there'd be an initial load of information, then Austin would head up a public information campaign as far as get other people, or get people to enter in additional phone numbers, emails that they would like. This also ties in with NOAA and FEMA as far as emergency alerts, also ties in with the panic buttons we have here at Village Hall as far as alerting police department, internal employees. So again, some nice features that we currently don't have. Price is comparable, if not a little less than what we're currently paying, so $15,500 for the first year. And then renewals are limited to 3.5% annually. So police, Austin, IS, all very happy with what they saw and anxious to get this new system in place.
Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Thorstensen, second by trustee Garner. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Woodside.
Aye.
6-0.
Motion carries. Item 6, approval of ordinance 2025,
34.
authorizing the execution of an amendment to the master agreement between the County of Lake and the Village of Gurnee for maintenance and future costs associated with county-owned traffic-controlled signal devices. Pat?
Sure. So again, a memo from our village engineer, Nick Leach, on this. So we have an agreement with the county that dictates the energy maintenance and future replacement costs of all the traffic control devices on county-owned highways that are within the Village of Gurnee. So clarifies who pays for what. The county's approached us. They've got 5 intersections here that they currently work with the property owner on this, but as a property owner changes hands, it's difficult for the county to chase down that person, make them aware of, hey, this is really your responsibility, and get those fees from them. So they've reached out to us. I think they're reaching out countywide to see if the municipalities will take that cost over, have the agreement directly with the county, so add it to our master signal agreement with the county. We took a look at it. It's an additional $20,000 a year, we estimate. The issue is that if we don't do this, the county continues to try to work with the property owners. If the property owners don't pay, the county does have the right to shut those traffic signals off. With the number of visitors that we have coming on county routes to all of our shopping centers, that's not a situation we want to be in. Police department definitely doesn't want to be dealing with traffic lights that have been turned off until the county gets paid. So it seemed to make sense that we just agree to this, absorb that cost, work with the county going forward. So again, about $20,000, so not a huge cost, but one that staff thought was logical. So it's before you tonight for consideration. And those 5 intersections are outlined in the memo. So.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
By trustee Balmas, second by trustee Garner. Any comments or questions?
Woodside.
Woodside.
Woodside, sorry. Sounded like Greg, I don't know.
I do impressions.
You got more hair than I got.
That's true, that's true. Roll call, please.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner. Aye. O'Brien.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
Woodside.
Aye.
6-0.
Motion carries. On to item 7, approval of ordinance 2025,
35.
authorizing a change order to the construction contract with Peter Baker and Sons, Inc. for 2025 street maintenance resurfacing program in the amount of $650,000 to allow the resurfacing of Bittersweet Golf Course parking lot and cart corral and approximately 1.25 miles of road within the village. Yeah.
Sure. So talked about this a little bit at the last meeting. So the resurfacing program came in about $1 million under budget. So we're going to go back and see how Quality Acres came in, and then the roadway reconstruction programs came in according to budget. So those are the next couple items on here, and both came in net under budget. So Nick reached out to Peter Baker to see if they would be willing to honor the unit pricing that they bid the resurfacing program at for additional work. They were. So then he took a look at some roadways and then the Bittersweet parking lot to get those taken care of. So the roadways, most of them are up in the northeast area of town. Selected these roadways because all they need is just milling and resurfacing. They don't need any ditch work, sidewalks, any of that stuff. So it's pretty simple. Then you got one roadway down in Heather Ridge, and then the Bittersweet parking lot and car corral. So estimate that work at $650,000. The additional $350 going to hang on to in case anything comes up with any of the capital programs, or there's some other projects hanging out there that potentially aren't necessarily in the budget but have been on the radar for a little bit that we're getting some pricing on. So if those come through and are reasonable, may come back to the village board and use some of that $350 for that. But this will do an additional 1.25 miles, so that'll take the total program up to 8.75 miles, which is by far our largest resurfacing program in the village's history. So, and again, at a really good cost. So it's not going to get any cheaper going forward. So staff recommends to move forward with this change order.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Garner, second by trustee Ross. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, can they start letting us take the carts out to the parking lot?
So
once it's done?
as part of the parking lot.
I don't think that's part of this.
No, it's going to happen. It's not, it is part of this because they're going to actually do, make the path going where the car corral is, make that wider, redo the curb there. And then on the other side over near to the south of the dumpster enclosure, so the south side of the building, looking at putting a path through there to come into the parking lot. So they just got all new carts out there with GPS, and we talked to them about allowing carts into the parking lot. So that won't be until next year because the paving at Bittersweet probably won't take place until April of '26, late in the season, but we're working on it.
Gold stars. All right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner. Aye. O'Brien.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Woodside.
Aye.
6-0.
Made Jeannie happy. That's got to be.
Yes, thank you. My bag's getting too heavy. I carry way too many golf balls.
Good reason. Item 8, approval of ordinance 2025.
36.
Authorizing execution of a professional services agreement with Christopher B. Burke Engineering Limited for engineering services Phase 2 for the Illinois Route 21 and Gages Lake Road pedestrian improvement. Pat.
Sure. So this is one of the areas that was in the Blue Ribbon Commission report as far as installing some pedestrian facilities down there. Burke did the Phase 1 engineering services, which determined the best orientation for the improvements through surveying, utility coordination with Lake Dot and DOT, and then preliminary plan development and project coordination. This is Phase 2, so this will finalize the plans and then secure the necessary permits. So just a reminder, this will just be for sidewalk along 21 and then ADA improvements at the intersection. So the sidewalk that we had planned down Gage Lake isn't going to happen. The HOA did not want to accept future maintenance responsibilities related to a retaining wall, and then the county wasn't too hot on permitting it in their right of way because they plan on coming through that area in the future, potentially to widen that out. So again, we didn't want to put it in and then have the county tell us 5 or 6 years from now that it's got to be removed. So this is just along 21. This will get everything ready for construction. So we'll get this together and then at a future meeting bid this out and bring forward a recommendation on a contractor to actually conduct the improvements and install the sidewalk along 21.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee O'Brien, second by trustee Garner. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Ross. Garner. Aye. O'Brien.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Woodside.
Aye.
6-0.
Motion carries. Item number 9, approval of engineering division's recommendation to award the 2025 roadway reconstruction program to the low bidder, Campanella and Sons, Inc., at a cost of $1,243,604.90. Pat.
Sure. So this includes about 0.38 miles of roadway reconstruction and then 0.3 miles of water main installation. Going to push Glen Flora to the east towards Estes to allow residents to get back around to Delaney and Grove intersection. So they've got a signalized intersection. Talked about that at a previous meeting. Put it on the street. The March-April timeframe had 2 responses. Campanella was a low bidder at the $1.243 million. we had 1.5 in the budget, so it came in $250,000 under what was in the budget. Again, worked with Campanella in the past, good success, so recommending to move forward with them for this.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Ross,
Second.
second by trustee Balmas. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
Torstenson.
Yes.
Woodside.
Aye.
6-0.
Motion carries. Item number 10, approval of Engineering Division's recommendation to award the 2025 Quality Acres Sanitary Sewer Extension Project to the low bidder, Campanella and Sons, Inc., at a cost of $650,568.69. Pat?
Sure, so we've talked about this multiple times since December as well, so this is to get sanitary sewer over in Quality Acres, so heading westward along Woodhill Drive from Delaney and then up into each of the cul-de-sacs, 3 cul-de-sacs over there. 2,100 feet of sanitary sewer to install. Again, bid this out. Campanella was a low bidder, $650,000. This one, we had $500,000 in the budget, so we were $150 short, but as I just mentioned on the other roadway reconstruction, we were $250 to the good, so we're still net positive on that. And again, the Campanella's done work like this for us in the past. Been a while, but more than capable to get the job done out there.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
By trustee Garner, second by trustee Thorstenson. Any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
Torstenson.
Yes.
Woodside.
Aye.
6-0.
Motion carries. Item number 11, approval of Public Works Department recommendation to award the 2025 concrete sidewalk replacement program to Schroeder and Schroeder, Inc., at a cost not to exceed $280,000, joint bid with Arlington Heights. Pat?
Sure, so this is our annual concrete flat work bid. Typically go out with a couple other communities, so went out again with Arlington Heights. Schroeder and Schroeder is usually the low bidder. Last year they didn't bid. The low bidder that we worked with wasn't overly impressed with the work they did. Schroeder and Schroeder is back this year. Was the only qualified bidder, although a couple different companies showed interest. So we're looking to address sidewalks in Zone 1, which I provided a map. It's basically the center of town from 21 over to the tollway, and then from Washington to our north border. $280,000 is what we're recommended. We've got $250 in this year. There's some projects or some sidewalk work that didn't get done last year, so the remaining $30,000 we'll look for savings in other projects that take place. But again, the cost of concrete, it's down a little less than last year, but last year was up 75%, so it's still way higher than it was a couple of years ago, but unfortunately, that's the market. So,
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee O'Brien, second by trustee Thorstenson. Any questions or comments?
I have one question. I'm looking to our department head, Heather Glenn, or Nick, I guess Heather.
Heather.
I usually communicate with Heather about this. So when will this start-ish? I'm just wondering, because I bicycle, and then I find them, and I contact you, and...
So until this passed, I couldn't get a schedule from the contractor, so as soon as I do, I'm happy to let you know what that date is. Because they're doing multiple communities, it kind of depends who gets in there first and then gets in the queue. The good news is that the guy who runs the project lives in town, so I think he has a vested interest to kind of focus on us, which is nice.
Excellent, thank you.
Want to know what his sidewalk looks like, huh?
it's the first place they're going.
I'm sure. Roll call, please.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
Torstenson.
Yes.
Woodside.
Aye.
6-0.
Motion carries. On to public comment. Anybody that would like to make a comment before the village board, if you'd stand up and say your name. Being none, floor is closed. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Balmas, second by trustee Garner. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.